The family is the bedrock and lifeline of any society. It is the single most important influence in a child's life. On Family World with Paula, together with credible experts.
There's a thin line between respect and fear. I don't want my children to be afraid of me.
So when you don't respect children, three things will happen. One, they will respect you.
We will be exploring and discussing the many different aspects and issues bordering on the family, ranging from conception, motherhood, fatherhood, parenting, relationships to marriage.
Many people are not really ready for marriage.
We will be celebrating men and women who have survived one family mishap or the other and have them tell their inspiring story. This is the show for everyone who came out from a family structure, already owns a family, or is hoping to start one someday. Join us in this enlightening, informative, entertaining, and inspiring show as we take on interesting family topics, no holds barred. Hi, welcome to another sizzling episode of Family World with Paula. I am your humble host, and then today on the show we'll be talking to three vibrant, beautiful, intelligent, amazing young women who all have something in common. The fact that they are mothers and they're passionate about raising up their children with values that they consider important to their family is something that they all share. And so today on the show, we'll be talking about values that we were raised with as children that are ebbing away. Okay, I'm going to talk with you with Tyra. So what values were you raised with? What did your family consider valuable? What traits, what character were you raised with that you think that was common with you then as a child and common with your peers, with other families that you think are no longer being held?
For me, respect is something that I know that I take very seriously, something that I was brought up with. I try to inculcate to my children, but one of the concerns you've just rightly raised is that not everybody actually does that, you know. Sometimes we see children in school, and I go to my child's school recently, I've been going quite a bit, and to pick them up. And one of the things I notice is, you know, your children's classmates who just walk by you without even greeting you.
Okay, so let's just define what respect is, because respect for me could be many things. So in this sense, when you're talking about respect, what particularly are you pinpointing as respect?
Being courteous for me is part of it as well.
Yeah. Being able to say good morning.
Being able to say good morning, greetings.
Yes.
I find there's something that's actually eroded.
It is.
I don't even,
actually. It is actually.
I find, you know, it's not even. You can even say hi, but you know, you say it with respect.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I know not everybody's taught in Nigeria, for example, to kneel down. I'm a Yoruba parent. My children will kneel down for other people, right? Yeah. But I know that not all cultures in Nigeria actually imbibe kneeling down.
Yeah.
So I would understand. So it's about saying good morning.
Good morning.
And what is hi? I'm not your mate.
And that's what I was going to say as well. I don't think it's even so much a kneeling down. I'm Yoruba as well. I'm very big. So my 6-year-old will see you and he will prostrate, whether it doesn't matter where you're from. But for me, it's more, you can't say hi to an adult. You know, you can't say, oh, hello, uncle. What does that mean?
It's just not respectful.
Yeah, even I as an adult now would never say that. If I walked into a room, I would say good morning or good afternoon or good evening. I wouldn't say hi. And I find that quite, you know, some kids come, my son's friends, and they're like, oh, hi.
What is hi?
From home.
Yes, it's actually,
if you have domestic helps and your kids are not even respectful to them, it starts from there.
Yes.
And you can tell where they get up in the morning and they just go about their business. The aunties and the uncles in the house that is helping you raise them and cater for them, all of a sudden they're not being greeted. It starts from home.
Yes.
So from there, and then it transmits into the regular society where they don't even know, they're not aware.
Yes.
They go about the day, they come,
Yes.
because they're not used to.
Yes.
So
the proper way to greet someone who is way older than you or a parent is to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
It's really important to be specific. It's good morning, sir.
Sir, good morning,
ma'am. Like you don't, especially if it's people that you're not familiar with. It's fine to say, oh, good morning, mommy. Or good. I remember when I was telling my son to say good morning, sir, and good morning, ma'am. And he said, okay, do I say that to you as well? I said, well, yes. I said, okay, well, can I say good morning, mommy? I said, that's fine. But if you see Auntie Paula or Auntie Tyra, just say good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. You just say, oh,
good morning.
Good morning.
ultimately, I think some of these things actually come from
home. Yes.
If you do it at home, the child would actually carry it out with them naturally.
Yeah.
It won't be something that the child will even feel bad about.
Yeah.
I recall there was a day I called one of my friends' sons in school. He walked past me and I said, young man, good morning. Oh, sorry, I said good afternoon. And the mom was actually quite incensed that I actually called her child. And she was upset with her child and said, how can a parent call you? You know, I went back to her and said to her, Sola, that was wonderful. You know, no parent has ever done that. Because normally, you know, the parents will look at you and say, why are you calling my child to come and greet you? Is it by force? Leave the child alone. But, you know, I was so impressed with her. She said to me, she said, you know, she was very apologetic. I said, you shouldn't be the one calling him to greet you. It should have come naturally. Once he walked past you, particularly as he knew I was his mom's friend, right? It's something that should have come naturally. Even if I wasn't his mom's friend, you should have still said it. You know, another one has said to me once that as parents, they're all standing together, and the child came. There were 4 mommies standing together, and then the child came and said, "Good morning, Auntie Sheung. Good morning, Auntie Trish. Good morning, Auntie Paula." And then didn't say good morning to me as a parent. You know, the mother was quite upset and just hit him. What is wrong with you? Are you drunk or something? You saw 4 of us here, and you now pick 3 of us to greet. Even if you didn't know her name, you could have said good morning, auntie, or something, good morning, ma. That would have covered you up. But it's actually wrong of you. I mean, those are the little things that, for me, you know, that a child must actually understand and actually carry on, you know, generally in life.
Okay. Yeah, so we've talked about respect and pinpointing it to being able to say good morning properly, not just saying good morning ma'am, good morning sir. Okay, so Sheung, do you want to tell us what family values you were raised with?
For me, after respect, I think it's hard work. I find that when we were growing up, you kind of saw it. You saw if you grew up in a 2-parent working household, you saw your mom go to work in the morning, you saw your dad go to work in the morning. If you were raised in a family like I was, my dad was posted all over the country and stuff like that. And I find that these days we no longer have that. Like, first of all, parents now can't even explain how they came about their job, right? So
that's true.
For a lot of children, it's almost like I say, for you to be wealthy, wealth is luck, right? And I you know, there just was going around in my head. This can lead to so many things. Wealth is luck, and so when you start to teach your children that, they don't even understand that you work hard for money. Do you see what I mean? But when we were growing up, we knew that. Like, you couldn't just, you know, you don't get a new school bag every week because you know, like, they broke it down to you. This school bag costs 500 nights. We have many hours to work towards that, you know. And I find that that's very, very slow. Like, there are very few homes or families now where they actually teach the children to work
hard.
I started working when I was 15. I had a part-time job when I moved to England. It wasn't because I needed to, but because I needed to understand the value of money. I needed to understand the value of hard work. I needed to understand that you don't just become wealthy overnight. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. And we really don't have that anymore. And
that's really sad. Because where are we going as a nation? Where are we going as people if we don't value hard work? I mean, what are we going to look at developed countries?
Where, as I said, the microwave generation, everything is instant.
Quick,
you know,
instant.
Everything is instant.
Quick gratification.
Instant gratification. So you make money, it's instant. There's no gradual, you know.
And so, what do you think parents should do? You know, because we can talk, but we should also be able to, you know, prefer solutions. So how do you think?
Parents need to lead by example.
Okay.
And it's in
leading
different
by
ways,
example,
right?
yeah.
So your 7-year-old, for example, needs to understand how you make money. Needs to understand the process, right? So there are little things you can do. I remember one of my older nieces who got money as a gift and completely blew the money in one day. So my dad said, "Oh, okay, this is how we want to do this."
Right.
I don't remember the amount. For sake of argument, let's say it was 50,000 naira, right? What's the minimum wage in Nigeria? In Lagos State is 18,000 naira a month.
It's still 18,000. It's been 18,000 naira for as long as I can remember.
So first of all, you just blown somebody's monthly wage in one day, basically. But let's even, for sake of argument, say that it's 50,000 naira a month, right? It means that, you know, roughly you're earning just a little over 13K a week. And then you break that down into hours as well. Guess who's going to be photocopying and filing in your office over the summer holiday? Just so she can understand how long it takes to earn 50,000 naira. When you start to do little things like that, they start to understand that, okay, so money is just doesn't, you know, appear in your backyard, you know?
You know, just, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you've said lead by example. Another thing that another solution I would prefer is putting them through the process. And I think that's what you were coming to.
And so, I was coming to that. So when they get older, right,
Yeah.
when they start to get to 11, 12, you start to involve them in the family finances. I know I talk about money a lot, but that's my job and that's what I know. You start to involve them in the family finances. You start to involve them in budgeting, so they understand what it takes to run the house, right? They understand how much work mommy has to do, or daddy has to do to be able to afford to send you to school, to be able to afford to run, pay NEPA bill, you start to teach them all of those little things. So they start to value that. Look, this thing is not small. When you go to work, when you're at the office for 12, 13 hours a day, you help them to understand that this is hard work. Yeah. Even if you don't work in an office and you run your own business, even better. My son says all the time, "Mommy, which office are you going to today?" Because of all of the different things I do. So he's starting to understand that. Look, and you can start with little things. Even when they start to get to a certain age, they have to start earning money.
They have to. I was just going to say that.
In the house, but the chores that you get paid for.
Yes.
Right? And so
So they have to be able to connect the rewards of hard work. Absolutely. Okay, so you're working hard, and this is what you get, and that encourages them to do more.
Another one that I was going to raise as a preference solution: delayed gratification. Right now, we have to.
Yeah.
You have, it's the common norm right now, and it's for good purpose and reason to have most kids have their phones. You track them with it. You call. You just want to check in on them, especially if they're doing a lot of extracurricular stuff out there that is outside of the school. So you want to be able to call and say, "Hey, are you there? Where are you? Are you done? Do you try to pick this up?" Just before you get there to scoop them up, to take them home. So at one point, they say, "Oh, my friend has this." Like, from a very young age, I've always told the kids, you're not looking at A, B, C. You're not trying to be like them.
Someone else,
The argument should never be, "Well, my friend has it." You've lost the argument. That's it. You're done. You're not getting that thing till the following year.
That's a very good one.
So the minute you tell me that, the shop has closed. Because the platform for which you are trying to put your case through is the very wrong platform. They've always known that. So secondly, I always tell my kids, when we go to the store, for example, we go grocery store shopping, or they see a toy, they go, "Oh, Mommy, I wanted to get this, can I get this? I did real well in school," and they're like, "Okay, if you do this, you're gonna get that." Not today, let's plan towards it. And then they work hard. And then they come and tell me, "Well, what do I have to do?" I'm like, "Oh, if you can get an A in this, an A in that, or a particular area that you're struggling with, if you read more of your novels that I buy you, then then all of a sudden start writing. Mommy, look, I read this book, I read that book," and then I'm in the store again, and they're like, "Oh, Mommy, look, that same toy. Remember, I've been reading, I've been doing all this." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna get it." So they hold on to it. And then lo and behold, as they go further down the aisle, they see something else. "Oh, Mommy, oh my gosh, I really, really wanted that." And I look at the one they have in their hand, I'm like, "Okay, so what are we doing with that one now?" And then he says, "Well, okay, I'm gonna hold on to this one. I'm gonna leave that one." Or if they decide they prefer this new one now,
they have to go through another process again.
And then, one time my middle child, Justin, said to me, "Why do I have to drop one?" I said, "Because you can have them both. You have to choose which one you can have." "But why?" I said, "Because you don't have the resources to buy them both right now. You haven't earned it." I'm like, "Okay." So he drops one, and then picks the other. So there is never going to be a time where you have to have it now. It's never going to be. So,
and you know what that also does? It teaches them character. Because being able to delay gratification and putting them through the process that you have just described for us teaches them how to be able to work for something, imbibes also hard work, and also being able to go through a discipline. So they're disciplined to go through the process to get what they want. For me, in terms of value, I remember that I had chores. All of us, we were 4 of us in the house, and we all had chores given to us. Mine was in the kitchen. My own chore was to wash dishes and to clean and to mop. How I hated it. It was something that I had to do on a daily basis. Can you imagine? Going to school, and before going to school, you have to check the sink to make sure that there was nothing there. And so these are the things that our children are not doing. I would say that my children they don't get to do chores apart from making their beds every morning before they go to school. But I think it's important for them to have that sense of responsibility. Absolutely. So even when I got married and I started running my own home, I didn't really have to depend on house helps. Yes. In fact, if anything, I taught them how to be able to clean the way I wanted my home to be cleaned. And they learned a lot from me. And they look at you with so much respect that, you can wear heels and still be able to get down to scrub, to clean, to keep a high hygienic level at home. So I think most of our children these days are much more saddled with responsibilities at school. That's such that they don't have time to do a lot of chores at home, but we have to be able to strike that balance.
I find that really interesting because I always say that I feel like even us as parents now, we've lost a lot of things that we grew up with. I think we're over pampering our children.
Yeah.
And we're a bit worried about what's going to happen in the future, where all of them will just be dependent on helps, right? And we won't be able to do anything. In fact, from the time when your child is 3, they can start to do chores at home. Pick up your toys, pack up, at the end of the day. I mean, it's not big stuff, but when your child is 3, they can pick up a dustpan and a brush and sweep whatever mess they've made of the floor. They can wipe the table. They can start by making their beds. They can start by pairing socks from the laundry basket. Something. They have to be. I mean, I can't even imagine. I say this, my nannies know, my helps know in the house. If you're not there, I'll be fine. So you're not doing me a favor.
Exactly.
Job, And so we also have to remember to tell our helps not to pamper the children as well.
Yes.
Remember when my son was 3, I started to tell the nanny, don't take his place to the kitchen for him. When he's done eating,
and the children should also understand, sorry to cut you short, but the children should also understand that the nannies are not there for them most of the time. They're there to help
that's
you.
What we made it to do now. I mean, that's what it's become. You see, the nanny is there for you. That's what children think. I always tell them, the nanny is not.
They're there to help me, not you.
The nannies are empowered only as much as you give them power.
Absolutely.
So in most homes that you find that the children are pretty much kings and queens, it's because of the parents. They've allowed the children to run amok. They've allowed the children to dictate. In fact, I know a lot of homes where the kids can strike, the aunties and strike, throw temper tantrums, throw plates at nannies and just yell and just be
disrespectful to them,
call them names.
I don't understand those kind of things.
It's the parents.
I hear some stories these days, and I'm a bit like, I remember when I was doing my A-levels in England, and I went to visit a friend of mine, and she's white, she's they're very liberal and stuff like that, and her mom said something to her, and she said, "Oh, shut up, mom." This was how I was.
The African mother.
No.
Imagine you saying that to your mom.
Normal in their home, right?
You won't even say
so I said,
SH.
So by the shock on my face, her mom and her looked at me like I just seen a ghost. So I said to them, if I ever said this to my mother, I'll be deaf in one ear.
That's just wrong.
Forever.
Sure.
Not just
temporarily.
temporarily.
No, forever. Because the thing is, I see teenagers now, even now in Lagos, in Nigeria, wherever, and the things that they say. Me, as a woman in my 30s with 2 children, I still cannot say those things to my mother. Now, just what I mean.
Tell us, what are those things? Give us examples of those things.
Just in general conversation. Oh, mommy, you're so funny.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The rudeness, the carry on,
the attitude, the
discourtesy.
My children tell me I'm funny.
I was not supposed to say that. Is it wrong to say, well, mom, you're so funny?
No, because I am funny, right?
They think they're friends. We're friends. So
there's a way you say it.
They forget the role.
I always say that there's a thin line between respect and fear.
Yeah.
I don't want my children to be afraid of me. That respect is important.
But I wouldn't take any offense if my daughter tells me you're funny. In fact, I'll be happy because then I'll feel like I can.
You would take offense if your daughter taps you in public to say you're funny.
It's the way it's done. I think it depends. Say for example, let me give 2 different scenarios. You're sitting down with your kids, you're watching something, and then something happens on the maybe a show you're watching, and then you turn back and you make a joke and say, "Remember when she did this?" A funny face, and then she's like, "Oh, mommy, you're funny." That's cool. Now, fast forward to another scenario where you say, "Hey, Justin, go clean your room."
Mommy, yes, you're funny.
Very funny.
Oh, okay. Okay, in that sense, yeah.
The 2 words are very funny,
yeah,
but they are very different situations.
Yes.
How
that I agree.
So it's very true.
That I agree.
I think it's okay. And I tell my kids, I said, you at some point, I need you to be a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Let me tell you why. I say to them, you need to read mommy. You need to read when mommy is being playful.
Oh, that will come.
You need to read
it
when
will come
mommy
naturally.
is being, serious. You need to understand when mommy is telling you a command to go and get done, where I don't need you to talk back.
I mean, we grew up with our parents not telling us.
Our parents just look at you.
Hey, my mother,
you
dare not.
When they look outside, that look.
Tyrek, you have an older child. Do you communicate with her with with looks, just looking at her and she understands?
Even my baby understands my looks.
Do you understand?
Okay.
You have to.
He must understand, because not everything you can say out loud.
You can't.
So he must understand. When I look at him sometimes, my son is a very cheerful child. So sometimes you say, Mommy, why are you looking at me like that?
Right.
I say, oh God, wrong timing. You know what? My older children dare not.
I can't wait for my boys to get to the age where when I look at them, they know. When we get home, you are dead.
Oh, trust me.
I'm waiting. Now they get it. Like when I give them a look, they're like,
Oh, trust me.
Mommy, what did I do?
Let me tell you, the worst scenario in that kind of a case is this. You're, for example, in the US, and you go to a store, and your child thinks that they can throw a tantrum.
Yes.
You know, the kids dictate there.
And
You can't spank them out there in public. You're in Walmart shopping in the car. You say, Mommy, I want this. You say no. And they throw themselves down. They start, you know, and a few times I've had to say to my son, you know, like, okay, we're going to get it in a minute. Just come. And I go into the car and I look myself, and I gave him a spanking of his life. And I said, those same people that saw us, that saw you act a nut, will go back to that same place
And behave properly.
and you will act right. And I go back to the scenario like, oh, are we gonna get it? No, Mommy, I'm okay, I'm fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're okay. Like, no, Mommy, I understand. We don't. This is not the time to purchase this now. Like, oh, good. Then they're like, oh, how did you get him? They're like, oh, he understands. You know, yes, you do.
Have
But
some
after
good
that
spanking.
time, when I do like this to you, we're gonna go to the car. Like, oh no, Mommy, no need.
All right, so we're talking about values and values that we're raised with and how they are gradually eroding. Now we're going to be talking about values that we're raising our children with that we were not raised with. And so I'll start with you. What values were you raised? What values are you raising your children with? Or what are you doing with your children that your parents didn't do with you?
Off the top of my head, one of the big things for me is talking to my children about money. That wasn't a conversation you ever had with your parents. You know, you didn't know how they made money. It just wasn't a conversation that you had. So I'm very open with my boys about money, and even though it seems like they're young, but I'm teaching them, you know, the difference between saving and investing and donating and spending and all of those kind of things, just so that they're not afraid to talk about money and they're not afraid to money doesn't scare
And
them.
they're informed, yeah.
And they're informed.
Yeah.
One of the big things for me as well is that because I have boys, it's important that I don't raise my boys in the typical raising boys way, where they don't do anything, they don't do chores, they don't sweep, they don't know how to cook. I mean, my husband knows how to cook, so look, my boys better know how to cook, better know how to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? And not that, you know, you get married and you start, I don't eat food, leftover food. Who's going to be cooking for you every day?
Exactly.
You know, just those little things that I didn't. Something that's also big for me is competition. I don't want to ever compare my boys. I think that's what a lot of us grew up with.
Yeah.
Like, oh, does your brother have two heads? Why are you getting B's when your brother is getting A's? You know,
Yeah.
everybody has their own strength, and I'm trying to make sure that I see that and know that, okay, this, you know, my first son may be good at maths and the other one may be good in sciences or whatever, but just to try not to compete them. So.
Good. Yeah. And Trish, what would that be for you?
I think it would be closeness. Not that I didn't see my parents did have us close, but I guess it was an afterthought because we were a lot of girls. There's 6 of us and there are 4 girls. Girls are very affectionate. They're very, you know, they draw closer to each other. They can, you know, bond. But you know, when you're raising boys, I'm raising all boys too. I've got 3 boys. I think it's something that I consciously foster. One of the main things for me is that I want my boys, my children, to be close.
All right, so Tyra, what would it be for you?
I know that there are different schools of thoughts on this, but I'd like my child, for me, to be my child's confidant. I mean, I have vivid memories when we were children of playing outside, and then we hear my dad's hoots, and then we all run. You know, we all disappear. Everybody disperses to go do something else. And you know, there was a day they didn't even come back. I mean, we went after our A levels. We were graduates, and we were all sitting outside. And then we had our fathers with my father on coming to the compound. And we started, we said, "You guys, please, what are we doing?" You know, but it was just instinct. It was just instinct. And you know, it's something I'm used to doing. You know, when my father comes, everybody runs and goes and does everything else. You know, I don't want that with my children. I'm hoping I'm able to strike a good balance, right? With being a parent and being their friend.
For me, I was smacked, I was beaten as a child because I was very
You
stubborn.
must have been naughty girl.
Okay, so that's what they said. They said I was stubborn. They said you were very stubborn, and I
I
was.
didn't understand you.
They really didn't.
Stubborn, you say strong-willed.
Strong-willed, it's not strong. No, but the word, what they used them was stubborn.
Right, of course.
They said you were so stubborn, you're different from the rest of your siblings. Why are you the stubborn one? I was taken to churches for deliverance because they thought I was stubborn. Yes.
I can relate.
Yes, I was very strong-willed. I didn't like nonsense. I saw a lot of things that my parents allowed that in my young mind I thought it wasn't supposed to be. And so when strangers come in and they would want to do whatever they wanted and control, I would be the one to say, no, you cannot do this. This is not allowed. And I would call my mom and point and tell my mom, Mom, can you see what is going on? This is not right. Why are they doing this? So I was like the warrior of the house. And
You got
so,
into trouble constantly.
Oh, yes.
and they kept telling my mom, she's stubborn. She's the cause of all your problems. She's stubborn. That I won't do with my child. Rather, I have strong-willed children. My son is strong-willed and I've learned how to channel his strength into things that will be productive and valuable to him. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation. I've had a great time. And I hope this lovely woman finds the time to come back again so we can talk about other things. Yes. But for now, keep watching. Don't forget to like our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll be right back on your screens. Thank you and have a great day. If you enjoyed our show, find us and connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you. Our social media handles are on your screen.